Ross Product Specialist, and I'm going to show you the filter and amplitude section in the SY300. So to get to this menu, we hit the Synth Effects button. We want to go into an oscillator because it's located in an oscillator. We're going to scroll down to Filter and Amp, which is labeled here. Just highlight it and push Enter. And we get to this menu. So to kind of go over what a filter does, a filter subtracts out certain frequencies or certain parts of the sound. And this tone can be changed to be more drastic, or it can be very subtle. So one of the first and most common filters we come across in this unit is the LPF, also known as a low-pass filter. And what a low-pass filter will do is it will allow frequencies to pass below the cutoff point. And this creates a more mellower sound. So for example, here's the sound. I'm using a triangle wave. Here's the sound with the filter bypass. Here's what happens when I add an LPF with just the settings that are turned on. Alright, so that's what the LPF does. The next filter we have in here is an HPF, also known as a high-pass filter, and this works in the exact opposite fashion as an LPF. A high-pass filter will let all of the frequencies pass that are above the cutoff point, and this kind of emphasizes the high frequency range. So here's what the high-pass filter sounds like in difference from the original. So here's the original, and here's the high-pass filter. Alright, so there's the high-pass filter. The next filter we have is called a BPF, also known as a bypass filter. And what this will do is it will allow frequencies to pass through a certain center point or a certain point in the frequency range, and everything else outside of it is cut off. So let's hear what the BPF sounds like. Alright, so that's a BPF. And the last filter we have to play with in here is called a peaking filter. And this emphasizes frequencies around a specific frequency. Almost works similarly to a single band EQ. And here's what the peaking filter sounds like. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the LPF and I'm going to show you some of the controls that are in each one of these. So the first control we have here is the filter slope. And the filter slope changes the attenuation of the slope to basically create a more pronounced effect. So the higher the number, the more pronounced the effect. So here's the LPF. Here's with the filter slope at -24. Notice a little bit of subtle differences in tonal change. The next portion of this is also known as the filter cutoff, and this adjusts the filter's cutoff point for a specific frequency. So the cutoff, let's just lower this from 70. Let's go down to 40 here and see what it sounds like now. Notice it's very dark and very mellow. There's no highs. If I want to increase that cutoff point, I just increase it, and now it sounds like this. Allowing more of the higher frequencies to pass through as I turn the cutoff up. So that's what the filter cutoff does. The next control we have is called the filter resonance, and the filter resonance boosts or emphasizes the frequency cutoff point. This is also useful when using an envelope or an LFO to create a sweeping filter effect, or almost like a wah effect. So the filter resonance, as I turn it up, so you just heard the differences at 20. Let's hear it at 50. So there's that control. We're going to use the page button now to scroll over to the next page to get to the next set of controls. And the next two controls we come across is the filter envelope attack and filter envelope depth. Now the filter envelope attack, what that does is it is a filter controlled by dynamics, adding more to the filter envelope attack creates a fast release time, or if I bring down that filter envelope attack down, it will allow a slower attack. So if I bring that down, it'll sound like this. Or if I bring it up, it'll sound like this. Now let's see what happens when we turn up the filter envelope depth. And the filter envelope depth controls the filter modulation depth by dynamics. So it'll work off of my picking. So let's turn that up. And here's what it sounds like when I turn it up a little bit. Now I'm going to turn the filter envelope attack up, give him more of a quack. If I take that filter envelope attack and bring it towards the negative numbers, and now the negative numbers will give a slower attack. Almost gives a quack type of sound to it. The next page here is called the amp section. And now it's not an amp like a traditional guitar amp. This is another term for amplitude. And amplitude is a term used for volume. So this is going to be your volume controls for the oscillator. The amp envelope attack, this is primarily used for attenuating or boosting the output level of the oscillator that you're in. So in oscillator 1, if I turn up the amp envelope attack, it'll boost the volume of it. So here it is at 0. Here's what happens when I turn it up. Even more. Notice this slow rise and fall in volume, almost like a tremolo. The oscillator level is just the master oscillator level in that patch. Oscillator pan, if I was running in stereo, would basically determine the stereo field of that oscillator. And that is it for the filter and amplitude section in a single oscillator. Again, you have 3 of these. Again, for each of the individual oscillators, you have an individual filter and amplitude section. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions, you can feel free to comment below, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Again, my name is Austin, Product Specialist from Boss. Subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with new tutorial videos on how to use some of the various and awesome Boss and Roland products. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Peace out, guys.